Honourable Member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's an honor for me to have this opportunity to add a few words to the remarks today. They are both my long-term friends, the member for Saint-Laurent and Markham Thornhill. And when I thought back to how we met, I think back to the Sydney Tar Ponds.
Markham, the member for Markham Thornhill, in 2001 was when we first started having a real friendship, and it was because I wasn't in politics. I was the executive director of the Sierra Club, and I was on a hunger strike right in front of this building. So for new members, you won't know that before 9/11, you could be right in front of the members' doors, and I had permission to sit there and be on a hunger strike. So that lasted 17 days. By the way, if I'd known when I started it was going to take 17 days for Allen Rock to crack, I wouldn't have done that. But anyway, the member for Markham Thornhill spent a lot of time chatting with me. And this wasn't because he was interested in the Sydney Tar Ponds. It was because it was a great place for a smoke break. And that's how we got to know each other. So he used to sit right over here, he was just remembering, and the current Minister for Fisheries used to call this the smoking section of the little group we had over here. But over all the years, I was never so glad to have laid a foundation of friendship with this wonderful man. I loved sitting with him when the Liberal caucus was over here. As the honourable member for Calgary-Nose Hill quite rightly pointed out, he has an immense knowledge, an immense background, a stunning academic CV. And I could run over and check economics. It was very handy. But when he became Minister of Immigration and did the magnificent job on behalf of the Prime Minister and the commitment of Canadians to open our arms to Syrian refugees, and he will know that I had many, many specific families that I went to him over and over and over again, begging, and he always listened and he took action. And I'm so deeply grateful, as are nearly 40,000 families that live in Canada now because of his enormous effort. I worried about his health then. I thought he was working himself down to nothing. And I know his wonderful wife, Nancy, shared some concerns. I think now you're just going to have an easy time. In fact, I should talk to the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think his workload will be enormous. But there's one thing that won't happen in China. He will not feel out of place as a smoker anymore. So perhaps we can wish him good luck and still try to give up the smoking and take care of Canada's interests. And before I lose all my time, I'd
like to say a few words about my dear friend, my hero, Minister, the member for Saint-Laurent, who has spoken for the last time in the House today. He is a hero to me because of the work that he did as Minister of the Environment in between 2002 and 2005.
That had happened right up to Paris, and it wasn't easy. It was 24-hour, round-the-clock work. People don't understand what it's like to take that stress. And as Minister of the Environment in 2005, the current the deputy for Saint-Laurent, I keep wanting to slip into minister, the member for Saint-Laurent, worked tirelessly and against the objections of the Bush administration to get Kyoto confirmed. It was not easy. I don't say this just out of friendship. I don't just have admiration for people across party lines without it being deeply, deeply deserved. And from there, he went on to be leader of the Liberal Party, a colleague again, and it is one of the greatest honors I've ever had, knowing both the member for Markham Thornhill and the member for Saint-Laurent as friends, to have the enormous honor to be the member for Saanich Gulf Islands and be able to work with them, alongside them, both in opposition and now across the aisle. And I'm so glad, so grateful that the member for Saint-Laurent has accepted the Prime Minister's offer. With COP23 being hosted by Fiji, and Fiji not having capacity to welcome the world to negotiate, the negotiations will be in Bonn. And I do hope that the member, our ambassador for Germany and the European Union, will find a way to participate and help along those negotiations at COP23. So that I don't have to say au revoir, mais seulement à la prochaine. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all of the work that you've done and for your excellent records.
J'aimerais